Any
This is Uncut. Can't get enough. The truth ain't holding back. This ain't no bluff. You are deserving that. Sometimes it's rough. No, I ain't holding back. Cause this is Uncut. This is Uncut. This is Uncut. No, I ain't holding back. Sometimes it's rough. This is Uncut. This is Uncut. The truth, you deserving that. This ain't no bluff. This ain't no bluff. I can't get enough. The truth holding back. This ain't no bluff. You are deserving that. No, I ain't holding back. Cause this is Uncut. This is Uncut. This is Uncut. No, I ain't holding back. Sometimes it's rough. This is Uncut. This is Uncut. The truth, you deserving that. This ain't no bluff. This ain't no bluff.
Happy Saturday, Turks and Caicos, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Uncut. And this evening we have with us Miss Brenesha Cox, who is the host of our TCI, and Mr. Sirano Hunt.
Good evening.
Hello.
And today we're going to be talking about, is it time to mold Turks and Caicos into the TCI that we want to see? And I feel it's important to identify who that we is. And of course, I mean young Turks and Caicos Islanders. That's the reason why we have these two brilliant young Turks and Caicos minds with us here today. And I'm so excited because I love to hear both of your inputs on that.
Well, definitely interesting topic that you chose tonight, Willandra. And the short answer to that is yes. And I'm hoping we could dig into that tonight. I think it's a fitting topic, and I'm really glad to be here tonight. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. So just before...
Thank you for inviting me.
Sorry, we didn't hear that.
I'm sorry, I'm just saying thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to be on your show.
Thank you. And just before we dive in, I think it's very important to point out that we have now began mass testing here. And for all of you who haven't done it as yet, I encourage everyone to do it. You not only know your status with COVID, but you're able to protect those around you if you do happen to have it. So firstly, the first question is, has Turks and Caicos acquired the political maturity to now think long-term goals for the country?
Oh, I didn't realize I had muted myself. Sorry, but I'll just jump in here, Ra, and if you have any, I shouldn't be calling people by their nicknames. Oops, Sirano.
You gotta go after you.
Okay, because I almost forgot to say Willandra. I was gonna say Will. I slip up, forgive me. But I think that we have a ways to go in terms of maturing We have made some progress since the first ministerial government that we had, but I think we do have a long road ahead of us in terms of pushing the standard to where it needs to be. We seem to be stuck on these short cycles of thinking, and that coincides with us having our four-yearly elections.
Yes.
And that's a culture that needs to change, a political culture that needs to change. And I think that the candidates, the political parties, they have a role as well to play in shifting that culture, so that we become more long-term focused and stop, seeing things where one party will come in and then reverse what the other party's done, or just build on the work that's been done already, because at the end of the day, it's for the benefit of Turks and Caicos Islands. But that's my view on that.
Definitely. Ra?
Yeah. I could agree with Brenesha. I think when it comes to maturity, I think that we do have some ways to go in terms of just the understanding of what politics and just political agenda brings to your country. You know what I mean? I mean, I think it has the word maturity. Man, like I looked at that question for maybe 2 days, and I was scratching my head like, wow, how do you place maturity in politics in the same sentence? You know what I mean? It had me all over the place. But in some ways, I definitely can say there are we do have the intellectual mind here now, the open-minded intellectual millennials and Generation Z who now can vote in these things. But that when it comes to maturity, I do think, like Brenesha said, I think we do need that we still have some ways to go in terms of just having everybody on the same page and understanding what politics is and what it does for your country and what voting is, how important voting is, and these things. I mean, voting is always an important thing. I'm just saying in terms of the word maturity has my mind all over the place. I do think we have some time to do and in order to be where we need to be in order.
Your mic was kind of breaking up through a bit of that, but I do understand that you agreed with Brenesha in terms of us needing to mature more politically. But I think we missed a bit of it. So I don't know if you want to speak so we could hear if that was corrected. Ra, with the sound?
Well, I think, Sirano, I don't know, is it because of your headphones that you're using? Maybe that's what's causing it to be a little crackly.
Yes, it's kind of
Yes, we have a few comments saying
that
that you're
my end as well. From what I gathered from what you said, like I am agreeing and then with Nisha in terms of we are where we need to be in terms of intellectual mind and understanding, but in terms of
Ra, we can't
mature.
Hear you. Try to connect the headphones because we can't hear anything.
Okay.
We can hear you, but it's crackling. So
okay,
I think
okay. Sorry.
Well, I mean, whilst we wait for him to sort that out, what do you think?
I feel as if we have a lot of learning to do, and I feel as if we could do that through our Caribbean brothers and sisters, being that their story is so similar to ours, so we can learn from the steps that they had to take. So I don't feel as if we're politically mature. However, I do feel as if we need to start thinking more long-term instead of short-term. All right, let's
Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Yes, much better. Yes.
Sorry. Did you hear me? Anything I said, like with my answer?
It was crackling, so just kind of go back over it, so we can properly hear it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So what I was pretty much saying, I was saying that I'm in agreement with Brenesha on the country. I remember like reading over your question and seeing the word maturity and politics in the same sentence. Like, it had me like literally all over the place. But
I do think that we have the minds, as a body of young people. I do think we have the minds, and now expansion of minds, politically as well. But I do think when it comes to the maturity of it and understanding of what political agenda brings to your country, it does have some time to still mature. You know what I mean? And that could very well mean by the next election. You know what I mean? So I do agree with Brenesha when it comes to that.
Right. Are we at the place in society where we want to sit down as a country, have maybe a town hall meeting, and put political parties aside and say, this is our plan for the country and this is the way we're going to move forward? I hope that caught Brenesha's reaction.
Oh, yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna let Sirano answer that first,
Yep.
and then
Sorry?
I'll let you answer that first, because.
Man, I try to figure out how to grow. Yes, I do think, like I mentioned in my first answer, when it comes to the maturity of it all, I do think, like I mentioned, we do have the minds. That takes. We understand things, understand policy, we understand government agenda and all these things. I do think it's very important for us as a collective people to sit down in groups and try to hear out our government and town hall meetings, and just attend these things at huge masses as we possibly can. In other words, oh yeah, definitely so.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna share, and I'm trying to share the video in a few Facebook groups as well. But I agree that we have some very brilliant minds that are scattered throughout the land of breath of Turks and Caicos Islands. We have brilliant people within politics and outside of politics. And I found this very interesting, Will, when I saw this question, because I think it definitely is time to sit down as a country and innovate and create a national plan, irrespective of political party. Now, I want to say, though, I know that there's been a development. Oh Lord, I won't say the wrong name for it now. It's the 2040 vision document or something like that. I think it's the name for a vision plan or something like that for Turks and Caicos Islands.
Yeah.
And I know that had been in the consultation phase, and I don't know what's happened since then. I don't know how much we have done in terms of trying to do the objectives that have been laid out in that document. And I do wonder how much of that document has insight from the opposition, as well as members of the public, people who are in leadership in various organizations, the man on the street, the woman in the bank. And I also must note that I know that there's a National Physical Development Plan that's there's a survey out now, and they want people to give their insight and their thoughts on what they want to see done in their country, specific to islands, or if you feel passionate about green spaces and all of that. So they're trying to get some people, to feed into that information. But I think we definitely cannot afford to be torn by bipartisanship. We need to be nonpartisan when it comes to certain issues to do with Turks and Caicos Islands, because I sometimes look at what happens when we get into election season and how we pull apart as a people. And it hurts. It hurts to see that as a young person, because we are literally putting ourselves back each time we give in too much to the political rhetoric. I mean, families torn apart, friendships torn apart, relationships torn apart. And that doesn't help our country, to go where it needs to go. And we keep calling for unity. But we don't see examples of unity from the top, and so we call for unity every couple of months. We have we'll have the pastors do a march for unity every couple of months, and occasionally you get people people from the public saying, okay, yeah, we need unity, but then no one really wants to unify, and we need to do that if Turks and Caicos is to become who it's supposed to be.
We definitely have to put the petty politics aside. deal with the
Yeah,
court.
oh man, you touched on so many points just now. I think from your point of view, we could elaborate. I mean, in terms of just when it's boiling down to election season, you know, what we witness here in the country. I will start on it also. You know, the rushing of things and agendas and all these kind of things, and whatever, the separation of, like you mentioned, families and so forth like that. And it makes you, I love the word, well, not so much, but I'm using the word more and more these days, tradition. And as soon as we get away from that, you know, and that takes us, millennials, Generation Z, you know, baby boomers, that takes us as a body of young people who understand these things, who witness these tactics and strategies over and over and totally disagree with it. And for them, you know, is go with a different route. You know what I mean? It'll only take us. It'll only take our young people now to say, look, listen, wow, like, are we doing this for the parties, or are we doing this for our country? For the last few days, I've been asking questions to my Twitter account about how people feel about just to feel out. I'm the person. I ask questions. If I go play a basketball game, and after the basketball game, I'll sit and ask questions and so forth like that, and just to hear young people how they think, where their minds are at, right? And so much people are so disconnected. I mean, we're hoping we're months apart from away from elections. You know what I mean? It takes us. It takes you, Will. It takes Brenesha Cox. It takes our generation, our minds, togetherness, our unions, our just coming together and just making sure our young people understand where they're getting themselves into, how much and how important it is for us to go forward collectively as a body of young people. That's how I see it.
Yes, definitely. I feel as if it does take our generation, but also we have to now begin to get involved with the process. So we have to learn from the generations before us. We can't just push them to the side and say, okay, yeah. We got this. So it's about going.
Yeah, it's that time now.
Do you guys feel as if millennials and Gen Zs are involved enough in the political process?
No. I think our generation, a lot of us are just disconnected from the drama, the back and forth, the mess,
yeah.
the history, the baggage. We're disconnected from that, and that's a good and a bad thing, because we need to vote. We need to be involved in deciding who runs our country. But at the same time, our generation, you know, we have more access to information. We are more educated in general in terms of seeing the world, in terms of studying all kinds of weird and wonderful things. So we are now looking at things through this critical lens. And sometimes that makes us not want to even get involved, but that's a bad thing, because it won't get better until we get, until we start to make things change and make things get better.
Yes, definitely. And I think it's also important to point out, when we say involved, it's not just involved on the front line, but there are things that you can do behind the scenes, because it's a lot. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ra. You paused.
Sorry.
You were gonna say something, or you paused? Or...
Oh, sorry. So again, points. It's all how that point is in common means that's great minds connected. That's how I see it. I had a friend of mine just 3 years ago. Again, like I mentioned, after the basketball game, I asked him a question, that had me puzzled. If you could puzzle a raw mind, you good. And his question to me was, we're now seeing what's going on in America. We're now seeing what's going on with the politics there. And we've always been seeing what's going on. And we're now, the Turks and Caicos is a brand. We're in the open world where everybody can see what's now going on in our country. And I can also admit it's very embarrassing if you want to sit back and say what it is. Really and truly. His question to me was, I vote, and just to touch on what Brenesha said, how disconnected we are. If I vote, what exactly am I voting for? For me, I lived in the UK, where I understand policy. I understand long-term planning. I understand these things. I understand bills of 10 years and so forth like that, and different groups and whatever the case may be. I understand these things. But if I vote here, I won't say where he lives or whatever the case may be. I'm not trying to do that to you. What am I voting for? And I said to him, my words came to the back of my teeth and stopped because I had no idea what to say to him. So he's younger than I am. I'm 31 years old. And for him, to ask that question and not understand, not only not understand politics, but not understand what he's voting for. For me, a 31-year-old, to say I'm a part of that whole traditional era. I don't want to be the person that votes for this party because my parents voted for that party. That's not who I am, right?
I think majority of our
I had no answer for him.
now more educated, so it's going to influence your thinking process with voting now.
Yeah. It's just.
Yeah, we don't just get a turkey and a ham and say we're gonna vote for you. That's not gonna work. I mean, not to say that is what motivates people to vote now. Don't crucify me. But I think our generation is gonna make the candidates work a little harder to secure our votes because we need to know what you're about and we need to understand.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. But I do hope to see a lot more young people getting involved in the process because, of course, that is very important. And again, I repeat, when I say process, I don't necessarily mean the front line. You don't have to put your name up as a candidate. Yeah. But it is important to understand how it actually works and the behind the scenes of getting to pick the candidates. And I think you gain a lot more appreciation for it then.
Do you think it should be taught in schools? Politics and civics and all that stuff.
I think that it should be an option, but not mandatory. Because you have those persons, for instance, me, I was always interested in politics. I really can't remember a time that I wasn't interested in politics. So I probably would have been one of those who would have opted for it just because I understand the importance of it and I understand the need for it. So maybe if that message is pushed a little bit more of teaching our young people the importance of it, then that would be.
Yeah, definitely. I'm totally agreeing with you. I'm totally agreeing with you in terms of just having younger people understand how important it is to be. I wouldn't so much even. I can't say not to vote, but to understand politics, to understand what it is, what it does for our country. Like I said, for me, you ladies are both geniuses. Obviously, first off, it's very late show, but I can just congratulations on both your shows. And reaching out to young people. I know there's a lot of people who are watching this today, and just to see where our minds are at as young people. Again, I think myself, who's I have a nonprofit, the Big Brothers initiative, and just I'm always surrounded by young men. Always. If it takes collecting garbage, if it takes just sports, if hanging out, whatever the case can be, just to keep them wherever they need to be. And now I find myself, I never included politics. I never included, which is, I'll probably say is wrong of me. But now, more so, I now ask these questions and to see just to see where their minds at, right? And I think my generation is even failing them because we're not implementing how important it is, for them to state their minds and state what we need as a country and the case we, and these are all intellectuals as well, people who have gone away to school and come back to bring their open-mindedness here to the country. And we just need to get our minds together and see where we can carry this country. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I
agree. You encompassed it all, but I definitely agree with that. So hopefully we can put everything aside and now come together and truly unify. But like Brenesha said, we constantly call for unity, and election season, that completely goes out of the window.
All that hard work on marching together, praying together, and then election season come and we cussing each other out like dirty dogs.
Don't forget that. What do you guys think should be deemed priority areas when we are seeking to shape the Turks and Caicos for the future?
Well, when I saw that question, I was like, okay, well, I mean, gee, if you really want to go there, we could go there. But in terms of what areas are a priority, we all know we have so many issues, right? We have a lot of issues in Turks and Caicos Islands that if we sit here and start talking about all of them individually, we could be here forever. But one of the things is we need to take our youth seriously and seriously invest in them, because the youth will inherit Turks and Caicos Islands. The people who are in office, the people who are in places of leadership now, the work that they are doing, it shouldn't be for now. It's for later. It's for tomorrow and for the many years to come. So we need to seriously consider this group of people. The youth, very important, very, very important. We need to think of them not just in terms of succession planning, but really engaging with them and finding out what they need. Not just thinking from sitting in an office, I think this is what's best. We need to seriously consider the youth and stop paying lip service. I am tired. I'm tired of the theatrics, of the photo ops. The youth need to be taken seriously, and the youth also need to know how much they are worth as well. Another thing is crime. Crime is an area that needs to be tackled. People need to feel safe. We all want to live a long and healthy life and live to see the fruits of our labor and enjoy living in Turks and Caicos. So that's another thing. And our economy needs to be diversified. And, as you have seen this week, we've been talking about this petroleum bill, and I guess that's one of the government's attempts at diversifying the economy. But as you can see, we definitely need to diversify away from just, tourism. And I think fintech and financial services and tapping into data science and so many other things can be done to diversify the economy. So I'm just going to stop there because I could talk forever.
Will, do you have anything to say before my breath is very long?
No, you could go ahead and add to it. Go ahead.
Okay, so Brenesha is a good friend of mine. I know her from we were younger, so I like hearing her views first, honestly and truly. But I not only am I agreeing with everything she just mentioned, I will have to pinpoint the youth. I think when it comes to priorities, like I mentioned, I am heavy on youth. I am heavy on youth development, all these kind of things, and I do understand how important it is to push them. They are visionaries. They have visions as well. I think when you think of the youth, you have to also think of, you can't think of now, as Misha said, you have to think of this 4 years, you have to think of 8 years, when Generation Z can vote. Their understanding of how the country works and how things work and strategy and policy and all these things. And just question number 4, there's a lot of you here in this country, believe it or not. Seem to be a country that has everything together, but that's really wrong and false. There's a lot of youth here who want to do other things, but they're behind it in this group of things that they think they can only do, right? And the youth here, young men especially, when it comes to using it, the education, if they don't have the education, what else can they do? You know, pushing the youth is a definite thing. I think also when like when it comes to the economy, where do I start, right? That's a must for sure. The economy is definitely probably number 2. Understanding the economy and elaborating when the government makes decisions today, it's really and truly a sad situation, because I feel as if, like I said, we're all intellectual. We understand how these things. I understand every word that comes out of everyone's mouth. So my thing is, if you're gonna say to a group of people that's not on a dictatorship or whatever the case may be, you have to elaborate what you're trying to say when it comes to the economy, what changes are being made in the economy, right? So those are my definite priorities, like the youth, pushing them and making sure their futures are bright and their futures are steady and they can push this country, and definitely the economy, and having people understand what's going on in our financial world and what's going on in our economical world, our hospitality world, and these things. You know what I mean?
That's one of the benefits about us being able to study abroad. You gain so much exposure and you want to bring as much as you can back home. So it helps to push Turks and Caicos. So that was one of the benefits of educating our people and having a more educated society. And I am so grateful for it, because I don't think we would have been demanding as much as we are today if we didn't have that exposure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And, you've had governments who have done a lot to help facilitate that. They've done a lot to help, send more Turks and Caicos Islanders off to school. But the time is now as well to improve what we have on the ground in Turks and Caicos too, so that everyone doesn't have to leave in order to, learn something that can help them have a very rewarding profession. I'd love to see the Turks and Caicos Community College become the University of Turks and Caicos Islands. I'd love to see that happen within the next 10 years. And I think that could definitely help a lot, and people would literally be able to work and study and do a wider range of things.
Well, one of the arguments always is, well, the community college isn't used as much as it should be, or the enrollment isn't what they expect. So why bring another tertiary institution?
Well, I think upgrading the Turks and Caicos Community College to a university means that we can seriously attract research grants from companies around the world or other corporations or institutions. The government can partner with these institutions to fund research, and the university can be the breeding ground for ideas, going from ideas to businesses to them being scaled up. We could also, that could be another way of diversifying the economy through educational tourism, because then you can make the fees very, 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 very cheap for locals or free for locals, and international students would then pay the fees, and that would bolster the economy, because those students also spend money. They need somewhere to live. They'll be renting. That could literally boost the economy, and we could partner with different universities from around the world to help build our capabilities. Can you imagine if we had like a research center for cancer based in Turks and Caicos, or marine, one of the best marine research centers in the world in Turks and Caicos, partnering with this university. There's just so much we could do, and we just have to start thinking outside of this box.
Definitely. Well, I hope to see, I know that Madam Premier had put forward her team for the economic recovery. So I'm excited to see what they come up with. And I hope to see some sort of diversification included in that plan. As young Turks and Caicos Islanders, what is the idyllic Turks and Caicos that you would like to inherit?
I'll let Ra go first. Go, Sirano.
Sorry, I can't really hear. Sorry.
Oh, you can't hear? Will, can you repeat that for him?
As young Turks and Caicos Islanders, describe the idyllic Turks and Caicos that you would like to inherit. Rod, did you hear it?
Whew. Like, I love it. Brenesha to go first.
You want me to go first? I can let you go first.
I can't really hear. It's in and out. Sorry.
Oh, it's in and out. Okay. I'll go ahead and maybe you can you hear me? Maybe it's his sound.
I can hear you, Brenesha.
You can hear me? Okay, let me answer Will's question then. She was asking, as a young Turks and Caicos Islander, describe the idyllic Turks and Caicos Islands that you would like to inherit. I had to go pull my files for this. I'm gonna answer this first, and then to let you gather your thoughts, Sirano. But my idea of an idyllic Turks and Caicos Islands that I would like for my children to inherit is a Turks and Caicos Islands where we really and truly support each other and not tear each other down. A Turks and Caicos Islands where we are excited to see our brother and our sister grow and progress, where we celebrate each other's milestones, where we share ideas, where we are open and we're free without fear or favor, with no fear of victimization if someone doesn't agree with what you think, where people with money are willing and able and ready and excited to fund ideas, new businesses. I dream of a Turks and Caicos where this is the norm, where we don't see visionaries as the enemy, but we embrace them. We see a visionary, we're like, yes, come on, young man, come on, young woman, we want to hear more from you. Where we take the ideas of our people and the views of our people seriously, where it is easier to get a business loan than a loan for a car, where our citizens are actually able to save money from their paychecks because the cost of living is reasonable, where children dream dreams and live to see them come to pass. I mean, not just living dreams and they live in a life of poverty, but our baseline exists no more because Turks and Caicos Islanders literally live a life where people are comfortable, where young men live to see their children grow up, where young men are not dying in the streets, where crime is something to which we do not become desensitized, that we do not accept, that we do not hear regularly, that men, old and young, are being shut down in their homes, outside their homes, out on the streets, where young entrepreneurs thrive and pass on those seeds to others who also want to one day own a business, big or small. I dream of a Turks and Caicos Islands like this. So I had to go put my files for that, but I'll just share that.
Yeah, I get that painted on a wall, on a card, and I'll hang that up in my room. I promise you. My Martin Luther King, Brenesha Cox Beach. I love.
Yes, and I love how you said it with pride and with passion.
Yeah, she went a little deep. I got cool bumpers to that one, Nisha. And thank you for that. Thank you for that. I felt like I feel much more of a Turks and Caicos Island when I listen to that now. But I do have to not only agree with you, but I do have to man, it's as a Turks and Caicos Island. I think this year, 2020, has taught me so much more that I've ever imagined when it comes to as a Turks and Caicos Islander. Entrepreneurship is something that I never, I wouldn't say I never seen, forefront or whatever the case as a Turks and Caicos Islander, but this year, not only did I've witnessed how much people can be so much talented and so driven and so, when so much was taken away from them. You know what I mean? So as a Turks and Caicos Islander, that made me so proud to see, and still today, I'm still proud to see so much young Turks and Caicos Islanders pushing way forward for the entrepreneurship and whatever. Man, where do I start? You started another me with this speech. Right?
No, I cheat. I had that written down somewhere that I thought of it, but I when I saw that question, I was like, boy, I gotta say this because
you had a dime. Yeah, I got my notes too. I got my notes and I said, okay, maybe I keep peeking at it. I keep peeking at them and it's like, all right, maybe I should look at it and say, nah, let me just go for it. But man, what do I say? As a Turks and Caicos Island, what do I want to see and inherit as a Turks and Caicos Island? I want my children and my children's children to benefit from this country. I want them to be able to go to school here, and I want them to be able to come here, back here, or if they go to school here, if they go abroad and come back here, I want this to be their stomping grounds. I want this to be their children's stomping grounds. I want this place. I usually go and travel for work, and Jamaica is one of the places that I usually go to, and I in a funny way, I can't really explain it, but in a funny way, I try my best to try compare Turks and Caicos to just such an independent and huge country like Jamaica. But this country has so much to offer. We are young, and we're young in tourism, we're young in development, we're young in infrastructure, we're young, believe it or not, in politics. And I just want to see this country continuously strive, like past these other countries in the Caribbean. I mean, and we have the opportunities to, and we will do that, right? But like I mentioned, for me, I want to continue to see Turks and Caicos Islanders strive. I want to continue to see Turks and Caicos Islanders take their entrepreneurship much, much more seriously. I hope this year, and it wasn't done out of boredom, whatever the case may be, I hope everyone pushes. Well, I want to see you on a huge network. I want to see Brenesha on a huge network. I want to be able to say, man, I shared a screen with these two ladies one day, and they get to push Turks and Caicos Island as a brand and what's going on in these countries and this country in particular. And I want to see our infrastructure and our schooling be much more than what it is. I want to see our tourism, medical tourism grow. We're not tapping into that in 2020. I'm in the medical field, so I can definitely say it's something that I've witnessed as an introduction, just speaking about it around the table and so forth, and now seeing it actually happening. People want to get their teeth done in Turks and Caicos Islands. I want to see that in the next 5 to 10 years be Turks and Caicos be Islands and this region be the place, man, okay, I want to go to that country and see what's going on, right? And all these things. I mean, I'm proud of Turks and Caicos Islands. If you have me on Twitter, I've been praising this country all week. I have no reason why, because I was coming on with Belandra and Brenesha Cox today, so I don't know. But this is a woman I love.
Why are you saying my whole name?
Yes, but I definitely love the fact, and I see us. Congratulations to Raisha on her new position with United Way as a director.
Yes.
Young Turks and Caicos Islanders climbing the ladders, and I see us being elevated. And I think now, because we are voicing our opinions a lot more, we're gaining a lot more appreciation for voicing our opinions and for being demanding. I think the generations before us appreciate the fact that we're asking for what we want.
Well, asking for what we deserve.
Yes, definitely.
Well, actually, I wanna hear your thoughts on the Turks and Caicos, the idyllic Turks and Caicos.
Me too. I want to hear it too.
Right, you look so excited.
I am excited.
My idyllic Turks and Caicos is one where my Turks and Caicos Islanders don't have to fight for opportunity. They don't have to fight for the positions that they deserve. They don't have to be afraid of, especially our young men, don't have to be afraid to live and see another day. Don't have to be afraid and wonder, is my brother going to be next? Like, that really hurts to know, because you're literally watching your calendar and you're like, okay, well, it's been a little quiet. I wonder what's gonna happen next. And so I'd like to see a Turks and Caicos where Turks and Caicos Islanders can breathe a little bit lighter. This is our home. And I feel this, us saying Turks and Caicos Islanders first should never be an offensive phrase to anyone. Because no matter where your home country is in the world, that's the only place where you get to be first. You don't get to be first in nobody else and no other man land. So I like to see a Turks and Caicos where Turks and Caicos Islanders have the opportunity to study in any field they wish to study in, especially here home, because there's no place like home. I like to see a Turks and Caicos where our young people are exposed to everything they would have been exposed to if they had traveled to another man's country. Right, you still want me to go on? This looks long.
I mean, listen, believe it or not, I gathered so much from what you just said and from what Brenesha said. But man, I don't know, like the what's it called? The Martin Luther King speech. I have a dream. Right? Brenesha captured me with that one. I mean, but I heard everything you said, and I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. This is I have so much more from what I want to see the Turks and Caicos become in my young life, in our young lives, and in terms of such young people thriving completely and making ways for other young people to have opportunities in this country, whatever the case would be. A non-traditional political Turks and Caicos. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see where we fight for.
All of us said yes at the same time, just not like yes.
That's what we need. Like that's
I'd love to see that. I would love to see non-traditional Turks, right?
When
Politically.
I answered that question just now, Ra, actually, when you asked me the question, or was it Brenesha who asked the question? When you asked the question, the feeling I got was similar to a feeling when about 3 or 4 years ago, Turks and Caicos national team went to Barbados to play football. And during halftime, we were down. So during halftime, we were in the locker room. And I think my mom suggested that we sing our Turks and Caicos song. And if you hear, actually, I got to see if she can find a video to post it so people can see. If you could hear the passion. Some person stood up and cried. And the burst of energy you just feel. Bro, when you asked that question just now, like that was that similar feeling, the national pride just beaming like you, because there's so much that you value in this country.
Yeah. Definitely, I agree with that. That's Turks and Caicos Islands, right? Hello?
Yes, we're here.
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes. We can hear you. You can't hear us?
It's going in and out.
To my end. I'm not sure why, but I want to thank you both for coming on to Uncut. This conversation was very interesting, and I don't feel as if this is the last conversation. There's a lot more conversations like this to come, especially because now we are making steps to make Turks and Caicos a better place. That's my little one. And so I'm so excited that I have other young Turks and Caicos Islanders who are just as excited as I am. So I'm glad to have you both beaming with national pride, and I hope that the conversations continue because these conversations will propel Turks and Caicos.
Yes, we need. Well, what's the next step for us? What do you think is the next step for us? I mean, having the conversations with your show Uncut and my show, our TCI, we bring in these conversations and ideas to the forefront. But then I guess the next step is for us to come together in some way and meet other like-minded people who, you know, have ideas for where they want to see this country go.
Definitely. I think and this is why I'm a advocate of getting involved in the process, because when you're involved in the process, you then could shape the minds of those persons who are leading. You don't necessarily have to be in the leadership position to make the decisions, but you can influence those decisions because you're involved in the process. For instance, these public consultation bills that are now out, most of them, we don't hear about them until it's the 11th hour. Sometimes you never hear about it until it's already passed. So I feel as if, you know, we just need to get involved in the process. And once we become involved, we're able to shape it a little bit more than if we just stuck in our small circles and speak about it privately.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you were gonna go on about what of your thoughts on idyllic Turks and Caicos, because you just get really excited.
I tried not to make sure I was kind of waiting on that. Well, I thank you for having us, myself, Brenesha, on the show today. And I would definitely say, in closing, I think just for young Turks and Caicos Islanders, I think we just, in some way, some form, some fashion, we just need to get our heads, our thoughts, our visions together and see where we can come from and where we can get with that. You know, I think in a lot of ways, the Turks and Caicos Islands right now is in a place where, and especially young people have no idea what is next. What are we gonna do? How are we gonna do it? How are we gonna get it? Is our visions valid? Is all these things, because we were so disconnected, right? Just living in a country ran by some smart people, right? So we just need to feel connected. We just need to feel connected. As a body of people, as a body of young people and young brilliant minds. I promise you, I had conversations with Leonardo Ligren and Benjamin Durham yesterday, and trust me, these guys, all very brilliant guys. I mean, just those are the minds that we need to put together. And it's just to make the Turks and Caicos, give our people, our young people, vision and hope again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You mentioned two of my faves just now, especially Leo. That's my boy. Yeah.
But it's so good to come together with young Turks and Caicos Islanders and speak about these things openly. Because I feel a lot of times we do have these conversations behind closed doors, but it's important to speak about it openly so that people don't think we're as disconnected as we seem. Because a lot of times we like to say we're disconnected, but really and truly we know what's going on, and we're kind of hands off but watching.
Yeah, definitely. When I say disconnected, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
When I like to elaborate on this whole disconnection. I think when we say disconnected, young people being disconnected, I feel as if politically, like I said, I don't want to go into from straight on examples in terms of things I have experienced, but I mean there's masses of people, masses of young people. I'm a talk. I promise you, I will talk your head off. everywhere I go, every day. And now I find myself, especially the whole 2020 thing, we have more time to think. We have more time to think as a country, think as a young body, and you read thoughts online, you heard thoughts, all these things. And when you sit down and think of young people, when I said disconnect, they have no idea what's going on. They have no idea what's going on. Like so much, they know what they want. You know, they know what they want. They know what they need in this country. They're just not there. You know, it goes to your first question, the whole maturity of like politically maturity, and it's just we're there intellectual wise, but just we have some ways to go and just gathering those brilliant minds and bringing them all in one and just boom, going in collectively like Anguilla did with this year's election, you know.
Yeah, but Will, I must applaud you and Chevelle on the TCI protest group, because that is one way of challenging the status quo and ensuring that, you know, our politicians know we mean business when it comes to certain issues, you know. And I would encourage people who are watching and who will watch this to get involved and support the TCI protest group. Come along to the protest, or, you know, share the flyers or something, because we're not going to get anywhere until we have to change Turks and Caicos together. It's going to take more than one person to do it. That's for sure.
Definitely. Thanks so much for that. And I feel as if it's important for us as citizens to put the pressure where it's needed. As a people, we are very passive. And so standing on a united front really says a lot, because it shows that we're all in this together, especially on issues such as crime, because everyone gets impacted. So that group brings a lot of joy to my heart, because you see Turks and Caicos Islanders uniting, and it is the most beautiful thing ever to see that our people can come together and stand up on united against causes that we believe in.
Yes.
So I just want to thank both of you again. And of course, you both will be back on to Uncut very soon. So don't get tired of me. Don't stop watching. Thank you both for coming.
No.
Thank you.
It was a complete pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you for having us today.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
This is Uncut. Can't get enough. The truth ain't holding back. This ain't no bluff. You are deserving that. Sometimes it's rough. No, I ain't holding back. Cause this is Uncut. This is Uncut. This is Uncut. No, I ain't holding back. Sometimes it's rough. This is Uncut. This is Uncut. The truth, you deserving that. This ain't no bluff.